What is good, guys? Okay, so today we're gonna retouch and re-edit a photo of a famous person wearing clothing or something else with words that we can change. Now, right away you can see, I hope you can see I'm using the clone stamp tool. Another way we could have accomplished the task of removing the text from this shirt in Photoshop is a function called Content Aware Fill. To use it, you'd want to isolate the area that you want to affect with a tool like the polygonal lasso, for example, or another selection tool, and then you click Content Aware Fill in the Edit menu. You apply some parameters to it, and then you get the results like you see here. But ultimately, if you can tell, I wasn't very satisfied with those results, so I went back and did it again with the more old school clone stamp method, which is always a joy to work with, but often gets me better results than the other options in Photoshop. Now this photo is a pretty high resolution photo, and if you look closely, where I'm copying from with the clone tool, there's a lot of texture in the shirt. And it's not just the photo, it's the image of the shirt originally. It has a lot of texture in it. So I'm cloning, and every time you see me reselect, that's very important because I'm trying to keep selecting that same texture and lightness of his shirt. It's a black and white photo. It's a white t-shirt with black letters on it. I'm trying to get rid of the lettering. Now, I'm using a lasso selection tool to isolate the area where the shirt is, where I'm going to work, so that I don't keep cloning parts of his arms or fingers or hands, which is really close to several places where I have to work. Now there's some interesting wrinkles where the folds of the shirt and wrinkles is a good place to try to match up stuff and make it look as realistic as possible. But again, we're just trying to imagine the shirt was blank. That's what we're trying to achieve. Blankness. Blank shirt so we can put stuff on it. And that's an important part of the idea is, what are you going to put on the shirt? You know, this is John Lennon, a very famous musician from the 60s and 70s, and he lived the later part of his life in New York City. So this was a big deal for him. He was a very big part of New York City and New York City culture back then. So now that we have the shirt cleaned up and blank, we're going to deselect the area we had highlighted, and now we're going to decide what am I going to put on the shirt. And this logo, the Monkees is a parody, a satire of the band that John Lennon was in called the Beatles. The Beatles made a couple of movies that featured them as themselves, being silly and goofing around and making music and running around and running away from their crazy fans and all that. And they made a TV show called The Monkees that was based on the Beatles, and it was kind of a joke. So, to me, it would be funny if John Lennon was wearing a Monkees t-shirt. So I have selected all the letters with the magic wand. Actually, I selected the white background with the magic wand, and then inverted the selection, selected inverse in the select menus, and now we're going to paste the logo onto the shirt. I missed the E the first time. It's okay to make mistakes. And now we're going to resize it so it fits, and we're going to adjust the opacity of the layer so it's not so harsh. It doesn't look like a sticker when it's on there. We're adjusting the opacity right there. And then I'm even going to bring it so it is covered partially by one of John Lennon's fingers there, and chop off that little end there. So now it looks like the logo is going under his hand and is more really a part of his shirt. As a last step, you could edit, transform, and warp, again, to make the logo look like it's really on the shirt and not just some sticker on there, artificially photoshopped, as we say. Now here's another version I made where I actually put a photo of John Lennon on his own shirt, so that would be funny to me. That's right, a photo of himself on his shirt. Imagine that. Imagine that. Now you may find, depending on your person, some already made artwork out there online for you to use. But if you have to create something of your own or want to create something original of your own from a photo, for example, I'm going to take the next chunk of the video to show you how to do that. First, find a good photo to work with. Drag and drop a big version of the photo onto your desktop. Drag the photo to the Photoshop icon to open it. Use the Object Select tool to isolate your subject. From the Filter menu, select Filter Gallery. Click through the samples on the right to preview the filters. Use the sliders to change the qualities of the filters. Once you are happy with your filter results, reopen your blank shirt photo. Copy and paste your newly filtered artwork onto the shirt. Choose Free Transform from the Edit menu to make the artwork fit on the shirt. Adjust the opacity of the layer to make the photo look better on the shirt. In this case, we are going to select the area that would be hidden by the arm and delete it. In the Edit menu, choose Transform, then Warp to make the artwork look like it's really on the shirt. With the background photo layer turned off, I used the magic wand to delete the white areas from my filtered artwork. Now I used the blur tool to soften the harsh edges of the edited artwork. Save the new image with a new name. Export as a JPEG to turn in on Google Classroom. So that is the task at hand. Find or use an image of a famous person and take off whatever is on their shirt or clothing using the clone stamp tool technique that we just described in this video. And I look forward to seeing what you make. Use your creativity and your sense of humor and your skills with Photoshop. But that's it for the moment as always. Thanks for watching.